I'd like to buy 150 acres and I have 4 cows. Hello, friends. I'm going to be the wet blanket uncle here a little bit. But let's walk through how markets work and what they will allow a young farmer to do. So when we go to the marketplace, we're going to buy equipment, or we're going to buy cattle, or we're going to buy land, and we're going to go rent stuff. We have to assume that our competition is someone that has everything paid for. They're out there. There are guys with the money to buy the cattle, the money to buy the equipment, the money to buy the land, or they already own it. So how do they look at an asset? Well, if they go to buy cows or they go to buy any of these things, they're going to say, well, what can I make on my money doing nothing? Right now, that's 4 or 5%. So when they're bidding on something, whether it's land rent or what may have you, they're saying, I'm willing to let the next guy do it for a 5% or less, because I can just go put the money in the bank and forget about it. And then they also look at the pain in the ass factor, right? Owning a share of Microsoft, you can go sit on the beach in Mexico and own that Microsoft share. If you got farmland, well, you can still go sit on the beach. You gotta, manage it a little harder, and there's less liquidity. So they might be willing to give up, on a share of Microsoft, there's no pain in the ass factor. On farm ground, yeah, okay, maybe they'll give up 4 or 5% to somebody. On a set of cattle, well, holy shit, when it's 10 degrees out there, somebody deserves to make 12 to 20% on the pain in the ass factor. So this guy's looking, how much interest can I make in my money, and how much am I willing to give up? So he's going to look at a set of cows and say, well, I'll let somebody else make 5% interest on the cows, and I'll let somebody else make 12% for pain in the ass factor. Same thing with equipment, right? Equipment, maybe the pain in the ass factor is going to be 14%, right? Cows is 20% because you got to feed the sons of bitches in the winter. Equipment, well, you can park it, and you only have to run it, when the weather's decent. So there's a pain in the ass factor. So they will let, set of cows, they'll look at it and they will maybe allow a young guy the opportunity to make 17, 18%, A, on their money, B, on the pain in the ass part. So then when a young guy goes and, he looks at a set of cows, and let's just say he's going to go get a bank loan. Well, if you're going to get a bank loan for 7%, and then they're going to want you to put LRP on the cattle, so there's 8%. So that millionaire next door is going to allow you to maybe make 10% on the pain in the ass, but you got to pay interest. So if you make 18%, almost half the money goes to LRP protection or hedging and interest. So can you bust your ass for 5 years to pay off a cow loan? Well, yeah. Yeah, a young person should be willing to say, I'm going to work weekends, I'm going to join the headlamp crew, I'm going to head to town, and, I'm going to work all day, and then I'm going to come home, work all night, I'm going to work all weekend, but in 5 years, I'll have the cow note paid for. And the same thing's kind of true in equipment. A young guy is going to, the millionaire is going to allow you to make 6% on your money. It's going to allow you to make 14% on your pain in the ass. You say, I'm going to buy a used tractor and a baler. I'm going to keep working, but on nights I'm going to make hay. On weekends I'm going to make hay, deliver hay, this and that. Can I do that for 5 years? Yes. Yes, you can. And I applaud you for doing that, right? That's what you should do. Now, when you buy a piece of farm ground, that guy, that millionaire next door, is going to allow you to make your 5 or 6% interest, but there's not much of a pain in the ass fee. So he's maybe going to allow you 3 or 4% pain in the ass fee for, whether it's hilly or whether there's, it's got challenges, needs fencing, this and that, yeah, maybe there's 3 or 4% there. So now we're looking at 20 years before you get it paid off. So you can buy a piece of land, and so you potentially could do what you're wanting to do, but you're looking at being in the headlamp crew for the next 20 years, 25 years, right? So to buy some cattle, you can have a shitty life for 5 years, get them paid for. To buy some equipment, you can have a shitty life for 5 years and get them paid for. If you buy land and don't have anything helping you to make the payment, you're looking at 20 years of a shitty life. But if you can get the cattle paid for, right, then those cattle, they'll make half that payment, and they'll maybe get it to where you can get that thing, to where it's cash flowing in 10 years instead of 20 years. But if you let the cattle, if you go, give her hell for 5 years, pay for a set of cattle, use those to help you pay for a set of equipment in 3 years. Now you can take the cattle profit or interest, you can take the equipment interest, and now you can apply that to that farm interest, and perhaps in 10 years get to where that farm is cash flowing. If you're going to run in naked with no cows paid for, okay, now you got to pay 68% interest on the cows, no equipment paid for, now you got to pay 68% interest on the equipment, and no land paid for, no equity, then you got to pay 68% interest on the land. Now you're paying 18 to 24% interest on your cow check, right? What's producing income? The cattle are producing income. Well, if those cattle have got to pay 68% on themselves, on their loan, and they got to pay 6 to 8% on the equipment loan, and they've got to pay 5 to 7% on the land loan, you're asking those cattle to pay 21%, 24%. If you do this deal as stated, you are in for a shitty 20 years. Could it be done? Yep, it could be done. I've done it. And I'm glad that the piece of property that I went in way over my head in 2006, I've got about 2 years to go and it'll be paid for. But it has been hell for the last 18 years. So there you go. Like I said, I don't want to be a wet blanket. This is a long video, but this is explains. Pay for the cows first. Let the cows help you pay for the equipment. Then use the equipment and the cows and the profit therewith to help you buy land. God bless you. Thanks for the question.